प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। Bhagavan Shri Krishna is preparing the ground for Arjuna to understand the significance of Om, very much echoing the teachings of the Kathopanishad. Here in this 8th chapter, Lord Shri Krishna says to Arjuna that the ultimate truth is to be approached through upasana on Omkara. We saw up to the 10th verse, and in fact, in the last class, we read the 11th shloka also. The 11th shloka, beginning with Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti, is introduced by Sri Adi Shankaracharya by saying, Punarapi Vakshamanena Upayena Pratipitasitasya Brahmanaha Vedavid Vadanadi Visheshana Visheshyasya Abhidhanam Karoti Bhagavan. Brahma is sought to be known. We seek to know Brahma. And in order to know the supreme reality, Brahma, the upaya, the best means is Omkara. Stay with Om. Repeat Om. Contemplate upon Om. Understand the deeper and deeper significance of Om. Om is the way. Om is the truth. Om is the destination. Om is the way. And you are yourself Om without knowing it. Veda with Vadanadi. Vadana here is saying. Knowers of Veda say, and such are the Visheshanas, that which is spoken of by knowers of Veda, that which people of high detachment enter into, that seeking which sadhakas observe brahmacharya. Arjuna, I will now tell you about that. What is that will come in the 12th verse. But in the 11th verse, many Visheshanas. A Visheshana could be sometimes just a word, a blue lotus, a blue adjective. But some other time it can be a phrase, it can be a clause. The lotus that Sita picked up. So then lotus is the noun that Sita picked up is the adjectival clause. Like that here, Yadaksharo Veda Vido Vadanti is an adjectival clause. That truth or that Om which knowers of Veda speak of. Therefore, Shankaracharya uses the expression Visheshana Visheshasya Abhidhanam Karoti. Sri Krishna mentions it or gives to us that Abhidhana, that name. We read this 11th once more now. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yatayo Vitaragah यदिच्छन्तो ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति तत्ते पदं संग्रहेण प्रवक्ष्ये. प्रवक्ष्ये. Actually, it means pravachmi. Vadishyami is future tense. I will tell you. Vadami is present tense. I tell you. In these contexts, they are both applicable. Pravakshe in present tense, pravachmi. I tell you now that pada in Sanskrit, pada can mean a word, pada can mean a step, pada can mean that which is to be reached. You want to start from some place, let's say in the west, start from Orlando and drive and drive and drive and reach Miami. So Miami is the pada. That's where you want to reach, destination. Pada can mean destination. Pada can mean step. Look at the wide range of meanings. And all that is so because the root pad means all these things. To step forward, to reach, to touch, even to know. Pratipadana, pratipatti. And we just now saw the word pratipitsita, that which is sought to be known. In fact, that applies to many words like which have meaning of go. Gam, gam, gacchati. Simple meaning somebody goes. But gacchati can also mean to know. With or without some upasarga. Avagata or adhigata or sangata and so on. You may add a preposition, but without any preposition or any preposition also, gam gacchati means to know. Because to know is to reach something through our understanding. Ordinary going is by feet or by a car, by a ship, by a plane. But a deeper meaning of going is you go from not knowing something to knowing something. When you know something, in a sense, what you know becomes a part of you. Yat aksharam. I must say, akshara also has many meanings, but we will see just two. One is a letter, a sound. You have e, u. All of them are aksharas. Ka, kha, or cha, cha, the vyanjanas, swaras, many groups of aksharas, aksharamala. But as we know, akshara also means that which does not decay. You and I find ourselves decaying. Most of us here are seniors, above 60, above 70, some are above 80, some maybe 40 or 52. But majority of us are above 60, seniors. And we realize, oh, I thought I would never get old, but I too am getting old now. We smile, we feel sad, both. So Kshara Sarvani Bhutani, says Sri Krishna in the 15th chapter. All living beings, in terms of their body, are Kshara. Kshara Sarvani Bhutani, Kutastokshara Uchyate, Uttama Purushastvanyaha, Paramatmetyudahritaha. In 15th chapter, three Purushas are talked about. Kshara, Akshara, and then Uttama Purusha. Please be careful. In a verse like the one that we are now studying, Akshara itself is the Uttama Purusha. Here there is no three-way classification. There is only two-way. One camp is Kshara, another is Akshara. When you go for a three-level classification, there is Kshara, there is Akshara, then Uttama. So the same word may have different meanings depending upon the context or the setting. Yad Aksharam. So one is Akshara, letter, Varna, and another is imperishable. Veda Vidaha. Vedan Vidanti. Iti Veda Vidaha. Those who know the Vedas, they speak of Om. In thousands of places in the Vedas, Om is mentioned, and those who study Vedas, those who teach Vedas, refer to Om all the time. Vishanti yad yatayo vitaraga. This is now a tall demand. This is asking quite a lot. If you are totally free of all attachments. Attachment is the expression of the ego, of the conditioned self. When you have a certain aham-vritti, when you have a certain abhimana, self-pride, self-esteem, self-worth, first of all, a notion about the self, I am this, I want to become that, then invariably various ragas, various attachments fill your bosom through inquiry, through both understanding and doing certain practices. In this world, certain teachers are heavily into practices. Just yesterday I saw a clip by Jaggi Vasudev. He, without any hesitation, without looking left or right, says about his work, about himself, I am here to provide you tools, tools, tools. He stresses the word, tools. So breathing techniques, some meditation technique, do this, do that. He even touches upon the right food to be eaten. He is a champion of eating uncooked food or less cooked food. He makes a mockery of well-cooked food. He says, when you eat cooked food, well cooked, it is all dead. All the nutrients in those vegetables are gone. You have boiled them, you have cooked them as though you have some vengeance against them. Finishing them off, then you eat and say, aha, very tasty. So he makes mockery of it. Anyway, in this clip I saw, I had reason to smile because our own Master Swami Chinmayananda was different. He highlighted philosophy. Vasudev says, tools. We are here to give you tools. No philosophy, no theory, and no words and words. Well, every teacher highlights what he or she has to offer. So it's not a question of who is right and who is wrong. Everybody is right, and we have to take what really suits us, what really can transform us. We neither want to get caught in mere philosophy, nor do we want to mechanically do some technique. Philosophers would laugh at someone like Vasudev saying he is selling all these techniques and let's see how long it will run. These techniques cannot give anybody true freedom, the philosophers would say. Because in philosophy, we say jnana devatu kaivalya. It is only by right understanding. And these champions of techniques laugh at philosophy. Swami Saropriyananda said in one video that here and there he met followers of yoga, and they, in a friendly way of course, said to Swami Saropriyananda, you Vedantins are all the time talking, and all that you are interested in talking more, or listening more. You don't do anything at all. The yoga, followers, they don't know. Now, he smiles if he doesn't move an inch because of their comments. For we Vedantins know 999 out of 1000 who study Vedanta, well, may fail at this time. Eventually they will succeed. But even if it is one who succeeds, he proves that right understanding itself can do everything. Well, we are not against tools. Many of us do some yogasana also and some other things. But to say philosophy is a waste of time is a gross error. However, we have nothing against those who make some fun of philosophy, because it is their way. Let them do so. But really speaking, it is through right understanding. Right, even the tools prepare the person. Eventually, that person has to go for the essential philosophy. Jnana Yoga, Jnana Marga, or Jnanam is the last step. It has to be reached by everybody. Bhakti Margis, Yoga Margis, Karma Margis, all of them have to come to Jnana. Jnana Devatu Kaivalyam. In the Gita itself, chapter 4, Sri Krishna has praised Jnana. All karmas are burnt away by Jnanagni, the fire of right seeing, the fire of right understanding. So Vitaraga, as we inquire, contemplate, meditate, we do. When our maturity is less, they take the form of tools. When our maturity is high, the tools are no more tools. What you do, in fact, you don't do. You just see. Less mature you are in life, you are so much into doing. More mature you are so much into seeing. And following seeing, action may take place. But primarily you are anchored in seeing. Thus, yatayaha yad vishanti. Without mentioning Om, Sri Krishna is talking about Om. That which the self-controlled ones enter, being free from attachments. And the third and last in the shloka is yadichantaha brahmacharyam charanti. Desiring which people live an orderly life. Brahmacharya, yes, especially the pursuit of pleasure has to be checked, but in its larger sense, it is ensuring that life is led in an orderly manner, where in certain cases there is a place for pleasure too. In certain other cases, depending on their inner growth, they may have said goodbye to pleasures. So, pleasure is not either out of the scenario or at, at the top of the scenario. Pleasure is one of the topics in this matter of brahmacharya. As we have said 100 times, Adi Shankaracharya many times just calls brahmacharya or gives the meaning of brahmacharya to be Gurukula Vasa. Thereby he means an orderly life. In Gurukula, one cannot live as per one's whims. Gurukula has a holistic blend of right things to do and wrong things to avoid. In life, human beings make only two mistakes. They do what should not be done and they don't do what is to be done. And Gurukula Vasa, we don't over idealize it, but to a great extent, and depending on the receptivity of the student, provides to the student or the students an opportunity to not do what should not be done and to do what has to be done. For an overwhelming number of students or sadhakas, community living helps. Very few people can really be totally on their own, for their mind becomes very hard to conquer. So this is another issue altogether. Should we be with a bunch of sadhakas more and more, or should we be by ourselves? In Buddhism, you have the concept of Sangha. After saying Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, you have three of them. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. And Sangha means coming together. Gautama Buddha encouraged people to meditate together, live together. One reason could be when there is somebody keeping an eye on you, you are keeping an eye on that fellow also. But if it is stretched beyond some point, it's more a nuisance. So, having raised that topic, let me tell you, in life or in spiritual life, there is place for Sangha, being with other sadhaks, and there is also a very valuable space for ekanta. Scriptures praise both at different times. Ekantasti, ekante sukham asyatam, say sadhana panchakam. Stay alone. Paratare, fix your mind in Brahman and let go of your old vasanas. Purnatma susamikshatam. In the last verse of Sadhana Panchakam, it begins with Ekante Sukhamasyata. Paratare Chetas Samadhiyata. In the Paratara, the highest truth, fix your mind. Ekanta is praised in Viveka Chudamani. Ekanta Stitihi Indriyo Paramane Hetuhu. If you really wish to control your senses, be more and more in solitude. For you may fail a few times, then you say, what's happening? I am now going to be strict on my senses. So combining ekanta, living all alone, away from crowds, away from even spiritual aspirants, and joining other sadhakas in programs, in group activities, group meditation, group study, spiritual camps, etc. Both have their place. One must know what one needs at a certain time during a certain phase of life. Let's see. In this shloka, Sri Krishna says, after saying yat, yat, yat in three lines, the fourth line says tat. Yat and tat. I shall teach you that, tat, which the knowers of Veda praise, and so on. So, Sangrahena Pravakshye. I shall now narrate it to you briefly. Sangraha. Sangraha somewhere else can mean collection. Dhana Sangraha. You collect money. Fundraising. Dhana Sangraha. Because Sangraha mainly means what otherwise goes in all directions, gets scattered, is brought together. Sangraha. So here too, Sangrahena means if Sri Krishna wants, he can, while talking on Om, go all over. He can go to thousands of related topics. But he says Sangrahena. No, I won't go all over. I'll put it all in just a few words, collecting, bringing them at one place. So Shankaracharya explains, Yadaksharam naksharati iti aksharam avinashi. Shankara does not take it here as a letter, a, e, etc. He says it is avinashi. Vedartajnaha vadanti. Those who not only recite the Vedas, but Vedartham jananti iti Vedartajnaha. For example, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where a number of learned people question Rishi Yajnavalkya. One of them was a lady named Gargi, and answering her questions, Sri Yajnavalkya says, एतद्वैतदक्षरं गार्गी ब्राह्मणाः अभिवदन्ति. Brahmanaha, those who know Brahma, or Brahma can mean Veda also, those who have studied and know the depths of Vedas, such people, knowers of Veda, knowers of Brahma, they vadanti, abhivadanti, aksharam. So the word akshara has come there, imperishable. Iti shrutehe. But what is it? In fact, in the Brihadaranyaka itself, we have these words. Shankaracharya refers to them. Sarva Visheshan Nivartakatvena. The best way to point out this imperishable truth is to give a long list of what it is not. If you know what it is not, and you let go of your clinging to all those, which Om is not, which Akshara is not, Sarva Vishesha Nivartaka. That's where Neti Neti comes. Abhivadanti. They speak very explicitly or with an emphasis. Astulam Ananu. There's actually a long list in the Brihadaranyaka. Not gross, not subtle, not short, not long, ahrasvam, adirgam, and so on. Is all negation. By pointing out what Akshara is not and helping us let go of our visualization, conceptualization, and then clinging to them, we remain Akshara. We realize Akshara by taking away what is not Akshara. And further, Vishanti, Pravishanti, Samyak Darshana Praptau Satyam. Sati Saptami Prayoga, they call it. When there is attainment of right seeing, Prapti being feminine, Samyak Darshana Praptau Satyam. If a neuter word were used, Samyak Darshana Prapane Sati. So it is good for some of you to know what is the Sati Saptami Prayoga. An adjective and a noun are both in seventh case. More than adjective, we can say present participle. Sat Santau Santaha. is the present participle. In feminine, sati, satyau, satyaha. Then satyam is seventh case. So, without making it long, most of you, if not all of you, have studied Bhaja Govindam. Vayasi gate kakkama vikaraha, shushke nire kakkasaraha, kshine vitte kapparivaraha, nate tatve kassansaraha. So Vayasi is the noun, Gate is the past participle, and Shushka is the past participle, Nira is the noun. Then thirdly, Vitta, money, is the noun, Kshina is the adjective, again past participle there. But actually one's present participle also is implied. Kshine vitte sati, Vayasi gate sati, Shushke nire sati, and Nate tatve sati. So I am explaining this word satyam, feminine, otherwise it is sati more commonly. Sati saptami. So it describes a state of affairs. So till recently, this man, this lady, did not know this highest truth. She didn't have the vision of the truth. Now, samyak darshana praptau satyam. In the present state of affairs is, she is illumined. Siddhartha was with 5 of his classmates before, and none of them knew the truth. Much later, those 5 meet him again after a long period of time. They meet him in Sarnath, just outside Varanasi. And they recognize, Siddhartha, you are here. Siddhartha looks at them and smiles. All of you are here, how? How come? And then within a few minutes, those 5 realize this Siddhartha is illumined. Samyak darshana praptau satyam. When there is the darshana, seeing, samyak, the right way, right seeing, then what happens? All our attachments and aversions, raga dvesha, vanish. We are free of them. We become true yatayaha. We have put in effort, and that effort has come to its culmination. Vitaragaha vishanti. Then we enter that akshara tattva, which is Om. That is Om. In this shloka, Om is not mentioned. But it is said that which sadhakas enter upon gaining the right seeing. Vitaragaha, Vitaha means Vigataha. Because V plus E dhatu becomes Vita. V plus Gam dhatu becomes Vigata. Vigataha ragaha yebhyaha se te Vitaragaha. And then Yadichantaha, the third line. Shankaracharya adds, when we say some people wanting Brahma, what it means is wanting to know Brahma. Brahma is not a mango or an apple. Collect it and keep it on your lap, keep it in your hand. Brahma is something to be known. In millions of scenarios, it is about acquiring, getting. You didn't have money, you got money. You didn't have a house, you got a house. You didn't have a car, you bought a car. You were not married, you got married and got a spouse. It's all, Shankaracharya in Kathopanishad Bhāshya says, aparam chet praptavyam, param chet dnatavyam. Millions and millions of things which are all below are to be acquired, yes. Even knowledge of languages, knowledge of science or history, economics or arts was to be got. But here, param chet Natavyam, aparam chet praptavyam. Param means the supreme, There is no question of acquiring it. It is just to be known. Because praptasya praptihi. Praptasya praptihi means you already have it. There is no, why do you need to go and collect it? You are that. Therefore, it is said, Natum iti vakya shesha. Natum, to know Brahma, to know Omkara. So, yadichantaha, therefore, means yat natum ichchanta. Natum is implied. Bhashyakara supplies. Brahmacharyam, as I said before, here Guru means Gurukule. Brahmacharyam, Gurau charanti. Guru stands for Gurukula in this context. So Gurukule Brahmacharyam charanti. It's not just the control of sexuality or control of any other pleasure pursuits, sweets or oversleeping or watching some nowadays all these videos, movies, songs, dance, etc. All of that are, of course, part of the whole thing, but a whole lot of other things too. Even if somebody talks too much, it is disorder. Other person is begging, you have told me already, don't repeat. No, just listen. And you go on repeating what you had said. You are killing the other person's time, you are wasting your own time. In 100 ways, you and I have disorder in daily life. And that disorder is lack of brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is where everything is in its place. We don't neither overdo anything nor underdo anything. We don't communicate at all, then your brahmacharya is gone. So some places it is necessary to communicate. And some other place over communicate. Saying the same thing, sending the same message for the third time. And unnecessary explanations, unnecessary details. Somebody asks you, when are you coming back to Delhi? You are a man living in Delhi, let us say. Rather than just saying, I am coming back on May 5, you say, you know what, I am going first to Kolkata, then to Madras, and then to Bangalore, and then, in fact, I am coming back very close to Delhi, but not touching. And then again, who asked you all that? Unless sometimes you realize that the other person needs information. If you think that, if you honestly think that the other person needs more information, then with that understanding you give details. We don't want to make it such a hard and fast rule. Then life becomes very dry. If you say, okay, I'm going to practice this seriously. I'm going to be a great brahmachari now. Here onwards, anybody asks me a question, I will answer only to the point. How are you doing? Fine. Put the head down. Don't do that kind of robotic behavior. Just answering. No rasa. Oh, one must judge, one must evaluate, one must sense the situation. Many a time somebody asks you, when are you coming back to Delhi? Not really to know when you are coming back. He is initiating a little conversation. If you sense that, then your answer also will be neither too short nor too long. You say, thank you for asking that. You may even thank him. So, without going long on that, in speech, in food, in various forms of pleasure, in work, workaholics sometimes pride over their working a lot. Sorry. So finally, you are the best judge. Find out. Are you working so many hours as a form of escapism? You are unable to sit quietly. You are unable to spend time with your own family. You are unable to pursue deeper interests. You corner of your heart. You know that you must listen to some music. You must read some good material. You must go for a good walk, preferably in natural surroundings. You must do some other exercises, and you have to inquire somebody was hospitalized last week. You have to do that. But leaving all that, there are some people who immerse themselves in work, work, and work. Gone. Brahmacharya is gone. They will pay for that excess in due course of time if they are already not paid. Day before, I was in for a shock to say in one sentence. I had a plan to meet somebody. Last 3 or 4 years, I have been thinking next time he comes to Bombay, I'll go meet him. He lives in London. But day before yesterday, I met a friend of his and asked him, how is so and so? That friend looked at me straight into my eyes. Don't you know he passed away 3 years ago? I was shocked. In last 3 years, at least 30 times I have thought of meeting him. I have been thinking, even a week before I had thought, well, he comes to Bombay sometime when I must get information, meet him. But 3 years away, he has passed away. So when you and I postpone and don't do what needs to be done, not easy. Brahmacharya is not easy. Even to just control the pleasure drive, sex or coffee or gulab jamun or movies or music, all those are forms of pleasure to an extent. Definitely, you may say movies educate you. Yeah. But if the same movie were to be presented in a very dry manner, will you go? You go because the dance and music and color and humor and violence and so many things. Then that's how the movies become successful in terms of box office, in terms of their earnings. So it is so many things. So pleasure as well as, can we say at the end, brahmacharya involves self-awareness and letting go of wide variety of bad habits, unhealthy habits, unintelligent ways of living. Therefore, I like the expression for which I give credit to J. Krishnamurti. He very much emphasized order in daily living. He didn't say anything new really. There is nothing J. Krishnamurti said which was not said in the Vedanta. But whether it's J. Krishnamurti or Vimla Takar and some other such teachers, they express the truths of the Vedanta in some unconventional language, in a language that first sounded like, I never heard this. Then you say, yeah, this, this is in a way the same as said by Yajnavalkya or by Sri Krishna in the Gita or by Yudhishthira in the Mahabharata and so on. So what Krishnamurti calls order in daily living is brahmacharya. Brahmacharyam gurau charanti, acharanti, tatte padam, tadaksharakyam padam, padaniyam. Pada here means what has to be reached. Padaniyam sangrahena, sankshepataha or sankshepena. Sankshepeena, Tritiya or SankshePataha, Sankshepat, Panchami, all of them mean briefly. Briefly, Pravakshe, Katayishyami. And having indirectly pointed out, once more, he did not use the word Om in this. And in the next shloka, in fact, next two shlokas are a couple. They are together. In the book I have been using, those two are put together, 12 and 13. सर्वद्वाराणि संयम्य मनोहृदि निरुध्य च मूर्ध्याधायात्मन प्राणमास्थितो योगधारणम्. And 13 has the Om. Om ityekaksharam brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran yaprayatityajan deham sayati paramam gatim. We will not go into this shloka, but for one more reason also. Before we take up the two shlokas, 12 and 13, where 13th explicitly mentions Om, we need to see what appears to be a slightly long paragraph, but it's not all that difficult. An introductory paragraph in Adi Shankaracharya's Bhāshya. It's an introduction to 12 and 13, where Shankaracharya quotes from Prashnopanishad, Kathopanishad, and of course, Bhagavad Geetā itself. He quotes from 2 or 3 different sources and once more prepares the ground for a better understanding of Om. Om is Pratika and Om is Vachaka. For Manda Buddhis, for Madhyama Buddhis, Om is very helpful on a certain level. For those who are Uttama Adhikaris, the same Om operates on a far higher level. All such things, Adi Shankaracharya says, in fact, that particular paragraph is in fact an excellent piece. Based on that, a very comprehensive article on Om can be written. On Om, many valuable points are given by Bhashyakara in what I am calling the introductory paragraph, at the end of which he says, Iti evamartham uttaro grantaha arabhyate. Uttaro grantha is what is coming next. The upcoming portion of the scripture, meaning verses 12 and 13, are taken up now for this purpose. After writing a paragraph in his Prasanna Gambhira Bhāshya, language that is serene as well as solemn, it is pleasing as well as full of deep meanings. In order that it pleases the readers, he does not compromise with the serious topics. In order that he presents the serious topics, he does not let his Bhashya become too dry or too hard. Therefore, Shankaracharya has been praised by large number of scholars. Bhashyakara has a bhasha that is prasanna gambhira. Prasannacha gambhiracha prasanna gambhira bhasha. Bhagavato Bhashyakarasya Shri Shankaracharya, we can say. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.